Shavua Tov. We read the Parshiot of Nitzavim Vayelech this past Shabbat, and there is a very important idea, concept, approach, how a Jew is supposed to live according to the Torah. What is the mindset? And this is especially appropriate as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now, there's a very powerful sales letter in this week's Parsha. Everybody who does marketing and sales knows that you need a really powerful sales letter to attract customers. Well, lahavdil, there's the most powerful sales letter for the Torah, for the mitzvot in this week's Parsha. And it says the following: you shall not say that the Torah is too far away from you, too distant from you. You can't say it's not up in Shemaim, it's not up in heavens, that you should say, let us send someone up who will go up to heaven and bring it down to us. And it's not across the sea that you will say, who shall we send across the sea to bring it back to us? Because the word of the Torah is close to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. This is the main first part of the sales letter. And I think there are three lessons that I would like to take from this, plus a fourth perspective at the end that will be very special and useful. What are the three lessons? The first one is, there's an old Yiddish saying that I disagree with, and that saying is, es ist schwer zu sein a Yid. It's hard to be a Jew. It is not hard to be a Jew. Yes, we have a lot of mitzvot, and some of them require effort, but that's not hard. It's beautiful. I had a Rabbi Jeremiah Wahlberg from the congregation Ohev Shalom in Merrick, Long Island, where I grew up, who once made a whole drasha on this. I just remember the refrain, that we shouldn't say es ist schwer zu sein a Yid, rather we should say es ist gut zu sein a Yid. It's good to be a Jew, not hard, it's good. That's the first thing. The words of the Torah are close to you in your mouth and in your heart to do them. We should never say it's too hard, it's too difficult. It's not. It's beautiful and it's good. But let's go on. There's an interesting little phrase in this passage, that when the Torah says it's not in heaven that you shall say, who will go up to heaven and get it for us? And it's not across the sea that you shall say, who will go across the sea and get it for us? Who is this who? What is this idea of a shaliach, of a messenger, of a proxy? Somebody else is going to do it for us? Judaism does not believe in anybody doing my Yiddishkeit for me. Even those situations where we have somebody who does something in a public sphere, like the Kohen in the Beit HaMikdash, or the one who blows the shofar, or the one who reads the Megillah, they're not doing it in order that I should fulfill my obligation. They're doing it in order to help me fulfill my own obligation. The one who blows the shofar is not blowing the shofar. In other words, if I would rely on him, then I don't even need to hear it. No, he's blowing the shofar so that I can fulfill my mitzvah. The Kohen is doing the korbanot not because he's doing it for me and I'm getting forgiven because of what he's doing. No, it's because I'm doing it through his agency, through his help. Each and every Jew has to fulfill the mitzvot themselves, has to do their own work. And there's another philosophy out there in the world, which I call Natsrut Atzlut, Christianity laziness. The Christian religion believes that there is a holy person whose job it is to be holy on behalf of the people. That would be the Pope. As a matter of fact, their whole religion is based upon the concept that Yoshke, their founder, died for the sins of mankind. Man is irredeemable. He cannot help but sin. He can never properly repent, and therefore you needed to believe in Yoshke, and then you would be forgiven. So in other words, somebody else is doing it for everybody else. That is a false belief, and the Torah is saying expressly, the Torah is not something that you have to send someone else to do, that you have to send someone else to get. It's your own responsibility. Rashi says that when the Torah says it's not in heaven for you to say who will go up and get it, Rashi says that, and if it would be in heaven, what then? We would all be obligated to go up and get it ourselves. Rashi does not mention sending someone up in a rocket ship. Rashi says if it's in heaven and it's not here, then we would need to go and get it ourselves. That's how important it is. And there's no idea, no possibility of sending someone else. I told the story about a Rabbi Shia Hecht, a young Chabadnik at the time, who was fighting against missionaries. And he would show up occasionally at Jews for Jesus meetings in order to make trouble for them, to ask questions. And one time he showed up at a Jews for Jesus meeting where they were bringing in new recruits. And the person delivering the presentation said that if you don't believe in Yoshke, you're going down to Gehinnom. And so Hecht raised his hand and asked the question. He said, I have a question. He said, I'm a Jewish guy. I'm a religious Jewish guy. I'm a nice guy. I don't hurt, I don't steal, I don't kill, I don't cheat, I don't lie, I don't speak ill of people, I give lots of charity. But I do not believe in Yoshka. Where am I going to go after I'm finished in this world? And the professor or the teacher, whatever he was, at the end of after that question, without hesitating, said, "You're going down to Gehenna because you have to believe in Yoshka. And if you don't, sorry, no matter how good you are, doesn't help." So he said, "Okay." Hecht followed up and said, "Okay, I have a follow-up question. A few decades ago, there was a Holocaust, and 6 million Jews were murdered in cold blood. Now, they did not accept Yoshka. Where are they today?" The room started to buzz, and the lecturer got a little uncomfortable and stumbled out something about, when they died, when their souls departed, they must have accepted Yoshka because it's impossible to think otherwise, and so forth and so on, which was a baloney answer. Of course, we all know that. But then Hecht didn't let up. He said, "And I have a third question for you. The Nazi guards who operated the gas chambers, the ones who committed the murders, but went to church every Sunday and believed in Yoshka, where are they today?" At that point, the lecturer had to leave the room in a hurry because a riot was brewing. That is not the Jewish approach. We don't believe in any messengers for our Yiddishkeit. And sometimes we're tempted to blame people for our lack of observance. I had a teacher in high school who was not nice, and who was harsh and insulted me and embarrassed me, and in some cases actual criminal activities have happened. We unfortunately know that there were some occasions like that, and a person therefore says, "Well, because that person was so bad to me, I'm not going to be religious." Who are you punishing? Right? You're appointing someone else to be the decider of whether you are going to be spiritually fulfilled or not. And sometimes we'll say, "Well, I didn't have an inspiring enough leader. My rabbi was boring. I didn't have people to really get me going." I'm sorry, we don't have messengers in Yiddishkeit. We have to do it ourselves. And if there's nobody there, then we have to go up to Shemaim. It's that important. Which brings me to the third idea. Why is it that important? Why is it so important that we have to go up to Shemaim if it's not here on earth and get it down? Well, the next psukim after this little section say, "Behold, I have set before you this day life and good, and death and evil, and you shall choose life." In other words, a full and complete life is only possible by living according to the Torah and the mitzvot. A person who does not have Torah and mitzvot is not living a complete and full life. Now, that's not to say that people who aren't religious don't have merit and don't have life. They do. For sure they do. Every mitzvah that they do, whether they know it or not, gives them tremendous reward and tremendous spiritual power. But do we want to live a 50% life, a 70% life, even a 90% life? We want to live an 100% life, and that's only possible through Torah and mitzvot. The Maharal from Prague, for example, talks about how the holidays are tied in to the seasons of the year, why each Chag comes at the time that it does. We have mitzvot that connect to every part of our body. Our tefillin shel yad is to subjugate and to guide our heart's desires and our emotions. Our tefillin shel rosh is to guide our thoughts and our beliefs. So the mitzvot themselves connect man to all of the world, and therefore to really live completely in this world, we need the mitzvot to make those connections. We talk about having 613 mitzvot, and the rabbis divide them up into 365 negative commandments, which are connected the sinews of the body, and 248 positive commandments, which are connected, which are opposite or representing the limbs of the body. So there are 613 limbs of the body, 613 mitzvot, to teach us that the entire human being is only alive when every one of those limbs lives through the mitzvot that we fulfill. King Solomon said at the end of Kohelet, he said, "Sof davar hakol nishma et Elokim yirah, vet mitzvotav shemor ki zeh kol ha'adam." At the end, everything is heard. Fear the Lord, keep his commandments, because this is all of men. Ki zeh kol ha'adam. So we see that a full, complete life is only achievable through 613 mitzvot, not 612, and not a 50% life, and not a 90%, 100%. And I think that this leads us to the fourth idea, which is a quite special idea, and that is perhaps when we fulfill the mitzvot, not just to think that I'm doing the mitzvot in order to fulfill the mitzvot and to be a good Jew. I'm fulfilling the mitzvot in order to live a complete life. Hineni muchan muzuman lichyot. I am prepared to live, and therefore I live through putting on these tefillin, through wearing the tzitzit, through keeping Shabbat, through all of the beautiful and wonderful and good mitzvot of the Torah. We come to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, a time when we say l'chaim, lots of life. May we be written and sealed in the book of life for a good, healthy year. Amen. And looking forward to see everybody soon.